Most of us, brought up in the tradition of Western medical science, tend to regard illness as a kind of mechanical breakdown that afflicts our bodies and requires a technical repair. The physician becomes the mechanic under the hood, and a cure is something done to and for us. Well, the two people we'll meet in this program take a different approach. They administer no drugs and perform no surgery. Together, they represent a growing field of medicine which holds that the way we think and feel can have a significant effect not only on our physical health, but on our capacity to cope with illness and disease. One draws on the 2,500-year-old tradition of Buddhism, which holds that a calm mind is the key to health. He works right in the heart of a modern hospital with patients referred to him because their own doctors can do nothing more for them. The second works from the perspective of Western psychology. He found with a group of women suffering from breast cancer that the simple act of sharing experiences and emotions actually helped them live longer. In the belief that the physician is only nature's assistant, both of these men help their patients learn how to reach deep into their own resources for healing from within. The University of Massachusetts Medical Center is located in the New England town of Worcester. Like most busy hospitals in America, it will serve twice as many patients this year as it did 10 years ago. Despite all the powerful weapons of modern medicine, many patients can't be helped. Frustrated doctors are beginning to turn to an ancient alternative.
Head and neck balanced on the shoulders, allowing the eyes to close, and just tuning into the breath, and a sense of your body as a whole, just sitting here.
13 years ago, Jon Kabat-Zinn gave up a promising career in molecular biology to establish this stress reduction clinic right in the middle of the hospital. Since then, he has seen over 5,000 patients. We spent 8 weeks with Jon as he taught a new group of patients a very old form of Buddhist meditation. How do your patients, your new patients, react when you mention to them the word and the idea of meditation?
Well, this is the problem. Would this be so weird that nobody would be interested in doing this at all? Give me a break. What are you talking about? Meditation? Yoga, to make it even worse? And so we had no idea, and this had never been tried before in a medical center, whether people, mainstream Americans, this is not Berkeley, would go for a clinic, the foundation of which was intensive training in meditative disciplines. They are being sent by their doctors for all sorts of very real problems, and they're not at all interested in yoga or swamis or gurus or Zen masters or enlightenment. They're suffering, and they are coming because they want some relief from their suffering. These are just regular folks, truck drivers, businessmen, teachers. In some cases, the stress of their lives contributed directly to their illnesses, and in others, it's the stress of their illness that sent their lives spinning out of control. Jo Driscoll has such a serious heart condition that her doctors say that she could die from a heart attack at any moment with no warning. Irma Jones injured her back at work a couple of years ago. She lives in constant pain. The same thing happened to Dan Kelleher. He'll never be able to work as a carpenter again because he's in a lot of pain and he can't lift or bend anymore. Judy Fine had most of her bowel removed 4 years ago, and she's been living with chronic pain. Jackie Soto recently learned that both she and her little baby are HIV positive. None of these people have any particular experience with meditation, and none of them see how coming here once a week for the next 2 months is likely to help. It's very special for us to be here. This is something that 15 years ago you couldn't find it anywhere, in any hospital, anywhere. You'd have to go to some monastery in Asia in order to find what we're going to be learning. Our first meditation will be an eating meditation. I'm going to pass around some raisins, and the instructions are basically to take them in your hand and look at them as if you'd never seen them before. Basically as if you dropped in from Mars and you just had never seen these things before. People will carry a lot of baggage about what a meditation is, and we want to dispel those notions right away. So we'll say, look, the first meditation exercise that we'll do isn't breathing, it isn't sitting in the full lotus posture, or standing on your head or some weird thing. We're going to just eat one raisin, and we're going to do it mindfully with awareness. Notice how the body knows where to position it and how to position it, and then start chewing, and don't swallow, just very slowly, chewing and experiencing the effect of the chewing, which we tend to call tasting. You begin to taste this thing that automatically we eat like this usually, you know, and we don't taste them, and you're on to the next handful before you start finishing chewing this one. And people have the realization, my goodness, I never taste raisins. I'm so busy eating them that I don't actually taste them. Now, most of us, when we eat, we're doing a lot of different things. There's eating and reading the newspaper, there's eating and having a conversation, there's eating and watching television. Very often, and there's eating so fast that you're just like, you know, out of touch with it completely. Slowing it down and really tasting helps bring you into the present moment. If you've ever been starving or been out camping where, you know, after 4 or 5 days, I mean, it was just a nut or a raisin left, you know, you can stretch that out. I mean, you know, take a half an hour to eat your raisin or your nut. It's special to eat. Why should eating the raisin or eating your dinner be any less of a viable, vital moment than when you're driving in your car or when you're making love or when you're talking with your children or anything else? I mean, if this is really it, why not own the whole thing? And when you're eating, really eat. And when you're walking, really walk and be in your body. And when you're driving, really drive. Once we do the raisin exercise and people begin to realize, wow, there's nothing magical about meditation, about mindfulness. It's simply when you're eating, just eat. Be completely with the eating and the tasting. Then we transfer from there to the breath and we say, now, taste your breath in the same way. Moving in past the nostrils, moving out past the nostrils. Being in touch with the breath. Feeling of the breath moving into your body and out of your body. And the same thing comes up. Wow, I didn't realize a breath is such a rich experience. Let's take a deep breath in, down into this region of the body. Feeling the belly expand. When I focus on my breathing, I feel the breath moving into my body and out of my body. It's a feeling. It's not thinking about breathing or what breathing is doing. It's just feeling the breath. Then I ask myself to stay on the breath, to ride the waves, much as if I was lying on a rubber raft on the ocean and the waves would pick me up and the waves would take me down. And I'm just feeling the lifting and the falling away, the lifting and the falling away, relaxing, feeling the body sinking into the mat. It helps stabilize and calm the thinking process itself, so that you just give the mind one thing to do, like just ride the waves of the in-breath, ride the waves of the out-breath. There's nothing magical about that, is there?
And being in touch with your breathing literally through your belly. And actually feeling that movement.
Does this make any sense to you, lying on the floor and concentrating on your toes?
Well, yeah, I think it does make a little bit of sense. Because actually it's putting my mind in touch with me in ways that I never was before.
What was the problem?
I have a herniated disc in my back.
When did that happen?
3.5 years ago.
You've been in pain ever since?
Oh, yeah. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
When I had surgery last year and the neurosurgeon said, whatever problems you have, you should just deal with them. And I felt terrible. I felt like he was just leaving me in the middle, and I felt really guilty and frustrated and angry. And then
Last year, Debbie Orzak underwent surgery to remove bone growth, which was compressing her spinal cord.
I mean, I fight it all the time. I fight the pain. You spend a great deal of energy fighting it. That's energy that you can use for other things.
Were you skeptical when you came to class? Were you optimistic about coming here? Or did you think, oh my God, just another?
I was skeptical. I mean, the idea of meditation, it's always been, oh, it works for everybody else. It's not going to work for me. After talking to Jon, he said something to me that was really meaningful. He said, you want to go from just existing to living. And he said, this program could help you do that.
As you relax and sink even deeper into the mat. And as you breathe in, just imagining that the breath is moving right down through the lungs and through the belly, down the left leg all the way to your toes. And as you breathe out, the breath is just moving back up from your toes and ultimately out your nose. All of your muscles in a deep state of relaxation. And the mind simply aware of this flow of energy, of this flow of breath. Experiencing your entire body breathing. And sinking deeper and deeper into a state of well-being as we come in touch with feeling complete, feeling whole, a realm in which our limitations are not confining, a realm of oneness, a realm of silence, of stillness, of peace.
After each class, they're required to go home and practice for 45 minutes every day. It's always interesting to hear what comes up for them in this first week.
I can't be aware of my breath.
You can't be aware of your breath?
No.
I found it difficult to keep my thoughts just on my breath.
Mm-hmm. The mind was full of thoughts.
My mind was alive, right. Absolutely.
I'm with him. Wherever you were, wherever you were, I was with you. My mind was a monkey. It was leaping from tree to tree. I even think it leaped into his tree while we were meditating.
Well, let me ask you both the question. Is this news to you, or were you aware of it before?
I was never aware of how much I think while I'm not talking or driving or walking.
This is an important observation, because very often we go through life on a kind of automatic pilot basis, and we kind of aren't even aware that there are all sorts of thoughts going on. They're not subliminal, they're just there, slightly beneath the surface of awareness, but they actually drive many of our actions and behaviors. Did anybody notice that this week?
It was difficult, but I sort of I didn't want to do it. But then I said, well, if I don't do it, what's the use of going to the class? But yeah, I found it very hard. First three days, I couldn't. I fell asleep. I just actually fell asleep. Yeah.
I was crying, sobbing, and I have no idea why. And I thought, God, if anybody was around here and saw this, because I was just, deeply sobbing suddenly.
Do you have any sense now of what that was about? Isn't it interesting?
It's interesting.
That you can lie down on the floor and move your mind through your body for 45 minutes, and it will unlock something.
Yes. And afterwards, I felt like, well, I wonder what we're going to find out, you know?
I like your attitude.
I was with my children in the car, and they're yakking, and I'm thinking, oh, God, I'm not a mother, I'm a car, I'm a chauffeur. And then I thought, wait a second, lighten up. You're with your children. Enjoy them.
Had you ever tried meditation before?
No. And I was feeling guilty as everyone was going around saying, how they were experiencing emotional, very different experiences. And I'm feeling guilty because it was very successful and positive for me.
Everybody's experience of this is going to be different because everybody has a different body and a different mind. So the point is to realize that all of these mind and body states are accessible to all of us. But the best way to get into them is to not try. We're cultivating something that is not passive and not active. It's non-doing.
It is 2,500 years old, and it's un-American. It's Buddhist, Eastern, and that's what makes it so difficult to share with people. And they're going to look and say, well, that's just like lying on a couch, or all that mumbo-jumbo about tuning in and mindfulness. What in the world is going on?
When you're lying down on the couch, taking it easy, relaxing, or whatever, if you watch what's actually going on in your mind and your body, you may discover that it's far from relaxing, that there's an awful lot of thinking going on in the mind, and you may be daydreaming, or you may be worrying, or you may be fantasizing, or whatever.
Well, my mind constantly chatters. It doesn't stop even when I'm...
Well, this is what meditation is really about, is the learning how to recognize that the mind is continually chattering. Most people don't even know that. And yet, that chatter winds up being the force that drives us much of the day. What meditation is really about is looking deeply into the chatter of the mind and becoming more aware of its patterns. Let's say your mind goes off. Where was one place it went this morning that you could share with us?
When is this going to be over?
Okay, so the thought comes up, sitting here, oh my God, instead of look up or look at the clock or just look at other people seem to be doing great. It's just like torture. When is this going to be over, right? Something like that. Okay, so now you notice for that moment with the, oh my God, when is this going to be over? Your mind is actually not feeling your breath. Is that true? Okay. The idea is to just notice, oh, when is this going to be over is actually just a thought. So you look at it, and then you gently just bring the mind back to the belly, back to the breath. And then the next thought will come, well, I don't want to be here. I mean, to hell with this breath. Right? Okay. And you just notice, oh, that's one too, and come back to the breath. And it takes a certain amount of work to develop that. And the work is, goes off, bring it back. A little bit like a fishing rod. You just reel it in.
You have to lasso it.
It's the willingness to lasso it gently, kindly, escorting it back to your belly or to wherever you're feeling the breath moving, and just coming back. So if the mind wanders 1,000,000 times, you just bring it back 1,000,000 times.
I tried to do it after I was doing my stretches for rehab, thinking that that's when I needed to relax. And all I felt was a real heightened awareness of all the pain. I felt really angry at all the pain and all the trouble that it's caused.
So there's a lot of anger there.
Yeah.
Do you feel at all friendly towards your body?
I feel like I've always used my mind to overcome it.
Uh-huh.
And now I can't do that anymore.
Well, this is an experiment in learning how to do the whole thing differently. And the first thing is that if pain is there, we're not going to sort of wall it off and deny that it's present, okay? It's going to be here, and we have to, in some way, learn how to work around the corners of it, work with it, and still not have it erode the quality of our life.
We are not
to you.
Thanks a lot.
John?
Yeah, nice to see you. I just want to talk to you about...
The treatment of pain costs this country $63 billion a year. Dr. Jon Kabat-Zinn, a gastroenterologist at UMass, has referred over 100 patients to John's stress reduction clinic.
There are people with pain problems, just pain that they can't control, and no one knows the cause for the particular type of pain. I see that quite often. And so that type of person where everything has been done, pain medications have been given, it's not been successful, we have sent patients to the stress clinic to learn how to adapt, learn how to live with their pain.
When you tell your patients you're going to prescribe meditation for them, how do they react?
Some with just saying, not for me, it'll be, I'm crazy then.
You don't quite use the word meditation. How would you like to...
That's correct. Sometimes I use the word meditation. Sometimes I use stress reduction. I don't have a planned approach anytime. I never quite do it the same way. But I eventually get in and say that there is this course, meditation, stress reduction. It's been very effective for many of my patients. I've tried it myself. I haven't been able to do it. I tell them that I haven't been able to do it. But I try, and I use some of the things that helps me. And I said, I think it might offer you a lot of benefit. And what have you got to lose?
So John's just not dealing with the kind of sort of flaky issues we think of when we think about emotions. He's dealing with serious physical illness.
That's correct.
Not easy ones.
He deals with the toughest ones. That's why I admire him so. And I think most of the physicians do, because he takes the people we can't help. Those are the ones who get to John.
Can you bend your knees? Can they go flat? That's right. Now let's see. Okay. Beautiful. You got it. Take your hand away then. You don't need the hand in there. Just back and forth. By the third week, I like to get them down on the floor practicing yoga, especially the people who feel their bodies don't work very well anymore, because often what comes up for them is quite painful. That's fine, don't worry about it. And you feel the pain. And you just see, let me see if I can ride the waves of this sensation. And you watch the sensations come and go, and very often they will change. Right there. Noticing that you can uncouple the sensations from your thoughts about them. And like, this is killing me, it's going to last forever, there's nothing I'll be able to do about it. And you learn to free yourself from those thoughts and realize those are just thoughts. And then it turns out there's inner stillness and peace right within some of the most difficult life situations. Ride on the waves. See if you can stay with the breath and just let the pain do whatever it does. Stay on top of it, floating on the breath. If you can learn to be comfortable within the pain or within the anxiety, it's going to change it completely. And you see, you're not trying to make it go away. This is a fundamental point. And people think, well, I'll come here and it'll make all my stress go away. We're not saying make your stress go away at all. What we're doing is saying actually move into the stress and begin to look at it. Look at the pain. Look at what the mind's reactions are. And you ask yourself, is this killing me right now? In this moment, is this killing me? The answer is very often, no, it's not. But my God, if I have to live with this for 30 years, and you say, but wait a minute, the idea is to just be in the present moment. Let's just flow with this. And over a period of time, people learn to actually relate differently to their pain.
A friend of mine who read your book said, he says that we should relax into physical discomfort. I don't want to relax into physical discomfort. I don't want any discomfort.
Well,
lots of luck, because maybe medicine has some magic pill which will make his discomfort go away completely and he can just continue to live his life. But the people that we see in the clinic have been that route and they haven't gotten satisfaction.
And on each out-breath, just letting go, letting your body become heavy as it sinks a little bit deeper into the floor or into your mat. Just full attention in each moment to your breathing, the in-breath and the out-breath, following rhythmically the one on the other as you let go.
15 years ago, Dan Kelleher was the starting right wing on his high school hockey team. 3 state championships won him an athletic scholarship to college.
Back then, you didn't think anything could happen to you. You had everything, you know.
The day before he was to leave for school, Dan fell while water skiing and fractured his back. 2 years later, an automobile collision left his back broken in a second place. 9 months in a body cast ended his collegiate sports career. Dan started life over again on Cape Cod as a commercial fisherman and carpenter. But when he was 30, a deck he was repairing collapsed. Dan fell 12 feet, rupturing his spine in a third place and pinning the main nerve to his leg.
My pain every day feels like someone pulled my leg out of my body. And it's just constantly shoots down my leg to my toes.
Why don't you turn around here? Let me have a peek at your back.
The bony mass left behind by the 2 previous spinal fusions prevented doctors from operating a third time. All they could offer Dan for his pain were drugs.
And I says, well, I don't want narcotics because I know what they're going to do to me because I'm just going to want more and more and more. And I don't really want to get addicted to anything.
Breathing in, tilting the other way, arms back, head up. And when you're ready, slowly coming back up. Noticing what the out-breath does.
And then I met Jon Kabat-Zinn.
Carry away a lot of the tension that builds up in this. Can you feel that?
Well, I was a little leery about it, you know. I had no idea what it involved.
Breathing in, and you raise the left leg and the right arm, okay? And you just stretch out, gazing beyond the extended fingers. And this is a little bit of a balancing and strengthening.
We talked about how I felt that my life was a little out of control, and I wanted to try to get my life in more control. And he seemed to think that it would help to come and take this stress and relaxation.
Left arm, and really staying with the breath. Yeah, okay, doing great. If you can touch my fingers, careful. Breathing.
That's hot.
Okay. And then just right there. Again.
Let me give you a little push. I just couldn't work anymore. I couldn't do the physical job of being a carpenter. My leg is numb, my toes are numb. It's just waking up every single day knowing that, actually sometimes I don't even wake up, I stay up all night because I'm in pain, you know. My wife, Mary Beth, had to go back to work to support me and our 3.5-year-old son, Terry.
There are times where I get frustrated with his pain. I would have to say that sometimes I forget, so I'll say to him, oh, honey, can you go take the kid out of the tub or something? And he'll just kind of look at me and, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot, Or, there are other times when he'll drop something and he'll get frustrated.
And what other signs you're seeing?
I mean, if I have to, I force myself to get down there and pick him up.
Yeah. And what else did you sing? You sing another song?
But to pick him up puts a lot of pressure and more pain shooting down my legs. Lifting is just like out of the question. Bending. Like all the pans in my kitchen are up in the top cupboard. And you go to the store and something's heavy and you ask someone to carry it to the car for you, they look at you like, what the heck's the matter with you? And you're always constantly worrying about what's going to happen. What's going to happen, in 2 months from now, a year from now. What am I going to do?
Come at me, Phil. I could be real afraid of him, but I'm moving in close. That's what the meditation practice is about. Whether it's fear that comes up or pain or whatever, remember I've been telling you over and over and again, move in close to it, okay? Even though it scares you. You come at me, okay? And then I'm going to just sort of meet you. Mm-hmm. See, that's what you're starting to do. You're starting to say, I'm your pain, okay? And you're right, he's got that feeling. And what do you want to tell me? Now be careful, because what do you want to tell me, though?
I don't want you anymore.
Yeah, that's right. But I'm here I am. See, so there's a sense of we're stuck, right? So what can be done? And in fact, what you're doing is you're starting to say, if I'm pushing against you, you're taking my hand, you take one of my hands and move it away. Yeah, see? Starting to work at getting yourself unstuck. I'm still here, right? I'm not going away.
No.
But you're beginning to assert the possibility that you can actually dance with me, that you can work with me, you can live around the corners of me and develop your life in some way around me. And you don't know what's going to happen to me because you can't control everything and you don't know everything. But maybe you're beginning to actually get comfortable with not knowing where the future's going, but putting your energy into the present. The only time that any of us have to grow or change or feel anything or learn anything is in the present moment. And if we're continually missing our present moments, almost willfully by not paying attention, what I'm suggesting is maybe it's time for regular people to just stop and tune in to what we have.
Is it possible this becomes just a Band-Aid, something I do when I start to feel bad?
Meditation is definitely not a Band-Aid. Actually, meditation is best described as a way of being, and what's most important about it is it's like weaving a parachute. You don't want to start weaving the parachute when you're about to jump out of the plane. You want to have been weaving the parachute morning, noon, and night, day in, day out, and then when you need it, it might actually hold you. So the way we practice meditation is to do it every day, to carve out some time every day that's just your time for being.
Focus on sound. And just hearing the sounds near and far, in the room and beyond, without trying to name them or think about them, but simply be aware of hearing sound.
This is un-American, really, but it's wonderful.
Why do you say it's un-American?
Well, because you watch the world, you know, just buzz, 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 face, face, face. And I think most people are not thinking, so we're doing something different.
My mind, you know, absolutely, it really hasn't improved that much. It still flits off all the time. But I've stopped saying no, and that's the good thing that's happened with me.
No to what?
To the mind.
Mm-hmm. So you stopped struggling with it.
I now say, okay, go where you want, but I'm staying here. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't know, I think maybe I've always said no to everything. And it's saying, you know, I don't want to hear that no.
Every week you seem softer, gentler, more relaxed, more whole.
I feel like maybe I'm okay after all. I'm not very happy with this body, and I haven't been for a long time. It doesn't work. It's fat. It's just not the old body I used to know. But I was walking the other day, I've been doing a lot of walking, and the sun sent out a shadow of me, and it was just totally different than my image of myself. It was this big woman, but she just looked so strong, and she didn't look fat, and I just sort of kept walking with my shadow. It was just a wonderful experience, so that was just something I want to share. It's just really nice. Me and my shadow.
With both feet now. 2 feet.
If you hope to really grow in strength and wisdom and bring healing into your life, you have to at some point come to the realization that this moment is precious. And not only precious, but it's wonderful, even if you're in pain in this moment. Now that takes a certain amount of courage to do. And it involves seeing what comes up as a challenge and continuing to breathe, and when you're ready on an in-breath, coming back up. And you're not in bed, you're here. That's enormously important. And then raising it up when you're bringing it back the other way, gently. And it's a statement of taking control in your life, being assertive in yourself rather than being passive and saying, well, I guess if there's no surgeon to cut it out of me, I better just curl up and feel hopeless. See, these little things aren't so little. That's one of the points that I really want you to sort of ponder, is that the little things and the little moments, they aren't little. They are life.
I returned to the UMass Medical Center to attend John's 8th and last class.
One of the reasons I came here was muscle spasms, and I hadn't had one until the other day. All of a sudden I had to stand up suddenly, and I suddenly thought of my breathing. And I put my hands down on the coffee table, and I concentrated on my breathing, and all the anxiety that I was feeling just went. And as soon as that went, the muscle spasm let up. It was like a miracle.
Moment to moment living, being in the present, has made me more aware of the joy in my life.
Now, this is the 8th week. This is the last session. You literally feel better?
Yes. I just hoped to get out of it something that would help me. I had no idea it would go in this direction at all. And chewing that raisin, you almost saw somebody catapult out of this room.
Why? Because it was so weird?
So stupid. What I thought to myself is, it took me an hour and 15 minutes to get here. I had to hire somebody to come drive my youngest child to school, and I'm sitting here chewing a raisin.
2 people this week asked my wife, hey, what's with Danny?
Your friends are starting to ask your wife?
Yeah, well, they didn't say it to me. Well, no, it wasn't my friend. It was my mother-in-law.
Oh.
Boy, he's awful nice and talkative all of a sudden now. And I started laughing. I thought it was pretty good. I didn't notice that. I said, well, there's nothing with me.
Now, there are very few people that I know on the planet that couldn't benefit more from a greater dose of awareness. And almost everything that we do would become more vivid and more alive, and we would probably be a lot happier if we were more in touch with the present moment. And it seems like in America, there's only one day that you're really supposed to stop and be thankful for what it is that you actually have. And the other 364 days you run around desperately trying to get more of what you don't have and push away what you don't want. What I'm suggesting is that we reverse that and start to really tune into the miraculous qualities of being alive. And instead of being sort of on automatic pilot, see what's possible if you start to kindle the flame of being fully alive.
Fully present with the breath, with the body.
I find that it's easier for me to sit and meditate now than it was at the beginning.
In the spirit of what we've been practicing this past 7 weeks.
And I can stay with the pain.
Just tuning into your body.
There are sometimes moments in my day where I'll notice that I'm not in pain. That's a big turning point for me.
Research at the UMass Medical Center shows that 3/4 of Jon's patients report moderate to great improvement in their conditions. And 4 years after taking the class, over 90% are still practicing some form of meditation.